Hello, Bill Clodsey here. We're starting up a single elimination Hour of Devastation draft once again. And the way I see it, we've got a crazy rare, probably wheels, and if not, someone else will fall into that trap. We've got Ambuscade, which is one of the better cards you can open, and Torment of Scarabs. I like Ambuscade better than every other card in the pack except maybe the Torment. And I think it's just a little bit better even than the Torment, although this thing accrues a lot of value over a long game, and if you have some other pressure on your opponent, there's not much they can do. Still, we'll take Ambuscade here and follow it up with a lot of options out of green. The best one of these is going to be the Oasis Ritualist. I love the kind of decks that play off-color, flashy curses and enchantments, or heck, even on-color ones like what's that thing from Amonkhet, the Sandworm Convergence, everyone's favorite rare to play against. Hope Tender. Shoot, earlier in the format I might have given this a second look, but it's the fact that it has to exert to even ramp at all makes it a lot worse for an uncommon. Anyway, yeah, Ritualist, Fixing, and ramp, it's all good. Desert. Now, to kind of cut green, I like the desert here. If this was pack one, pick one, you might consider Puncturing Blow as a better pick, but it's definitely the better of the two deserts and on color, so we're happy to get that here. I mean, it's reasonable to consider this over the Puncturing Blow, but you'll run into decks that have one of the new Egyptian gods that you can't kill any other way than exiling, so the Puncturing Blow is like the only way to deal with it. Real quick, let's see who we're up against. We're passing to Nunomg, Boros Charm, Zako, Argmeister, Burtag 33, Magic Man, and Bo. Okay, and what about this pack? Dune Diviner. I don't mind this card if you're kind of going late and you have a bunch of deserts. It's a fine 3-drop if you don't have other 3-drops. Gaining life is kind of huge and can really stabilize you against the more aggressive decks, especially if you're doing something big in the late game. Not going to be an early pick though. Dunes of the Dead, Hostile Desert, kind of along the same vein as a Dune Diviner. You don't want to pick them early, but they have some utility. What I do like in this pack is the Rampaging Hippo over Bitterbow Sharpshooters. When you have things like the Ritualist, getting a 5/6 trample into play is just about as easy as getting a 4/4 Vigilance Reach. Flyers are always pesky, but the fact that this cycles early really puts it over the top. Hash up Oasis, okay. We can keep taking deserts. Probably the first pack I've seen with 2 full art plains in it. But there you have it. Hash up Oasis. Hopefully we can do something cool with deserts. Maybe we'll get some of those green cards that can bring lands back and we can keep renewing this effect or similar effects. Maybe get some lizard, what are they called? Desert payoff cards. Might just be the best card in the pack too, so lucky us. Anyway, Traveler's Amulet, Oketra's Avenger would be fine, except that's really not the deck that we're trying to build here. We want our green early to fix our other colors, and we want our off-color cards to be large. So I'm actually going to take Traveler's Amulet over the Oketra's Avenger here, and if that creates someone drafting white to the left of us, then all the better. Sure, so another desert here versus Granitic Titan and some other stuff, but I'm going to go with the desert. Try to get a critical mass of these, and getting a late blue desert might mean that blue is kind of open, or at least blue along the lines of what we're trying to draft. Yeah, not much left in this pack. Steadfast Sentinel might have like the most potential in our deck, but it's not the strongest card here, and it's heavy white for the effect. Cunning Survivor, although we have a couple cyclers, still isn't exciting. And then Frontline Devastator is always kind of good. Yeah, not the easiest pick, but also doesn't matter too much. I'll take the Survivor. Fraying Sanity's back. The problem with green is that it doesn't have ways of attacking your opponent's hand or board or graveyard or anything like that, so it's not going to be a real win condition for green. The only way you could do it is to get a desert-themed mill deck. And I'm just going to keep passing it on, take Traveler's Amulet. This way we can be sure to splash and play a 5-color deck. Ipnu Rivulet, that's the blue desert, and if we get ways to return deserts, then milling 8 a turn is a real win condition. So maybe it's close there. It is possible that we go into that deck, but this second Traveler's Amulet does mean it's so easy to splash anything we'd ever want. Alright, Beneath the Sands. We do have an Ambuscade. We're kind of missing out on stuff. Ruin Rat is another one I like, especially with Ambuscade. But let's go with Beneath the Sands. We're not really invested in a second color yet. Nissa's Defeat. Life Goes On, Gift of Strength. It's possible to side in Nissa's Defeat versus something like Samut, Nissa herself, or Sandworm Convergence. I still haven't lived the dream of destroying a forest with Gifts of Paradise attached to it, but that could happen too. Dunes of the Dead is back. Yeah, it's worth going into that, although this is such a late Ruin Rat, it might be a sign that black's just kind of open. It's a good black card, but sure, I'll go with the Dunes. See what else we can get out of this pack. A couple more cards. Someone picked up that foil Plains, and they'll leave us with a Proven Combatant. I don't mind that. It's a nice little chump blocker early, and there's enough things with 1 toughness that it forces them to exert or whatever. So we can take the Proven Combatant, and then a 4/4 is a solid-sized body in the mid or late game, especially if you're ramping a little bit. It just gives you something else to do. Yeah, take this Crypt, gain some life. And that's pack 1. Alright, this is one of the first times I've opened Unish, and this is a foil no less. Foil Mythic Unish. I guess we're in the right colors here. Strong card. Maybe we can get really lucky and get past that uncommon Sphinx, but it does enough on its own. It's a mini Fact or Fiction when you cast it. It does make other Sphinx cheaper, and they also have a mini Fact or Fiction if this lives, but 6 mana, 4/4 flyer plus Fact or Fiction is just kind of good enough on its own. So a flashy card here, one I don't get to play with that often, and we'll scoop it up here. If we're really lucky, not only will we get past that second Sphinx, but we'll wheel one of these Eternal of Harsh Truths, or even better, a River Hoopoe. What else can we get? Ooh, Grind to Dust. I will double off-color splash this all day. Even easier if you're in green. This is just exile 2 things, whether they be gods or mortals. You can just get them. -1/-1 counters on them, then exile any number. Sometimes you get lucky, and some Manticore will have come in and given some creature a -1/-1 counter, and you can put together a 3-for-1 or 4-for-1 off this, but it's always good for a 2-for-1, and sometimes you just have to run out the counters early and you snag a couple X1s if it's against an aggressive deck. There's also Manolith. I guess we're doing alright for our fixing. I'm not going to pass up this Grind to Dust though. And we can be a little more mindful about trying to fix for this. Black's the most important, and then white after that. So what to take next? We didn't get a Sphinx. Not holding my breath for that anymore. Desert of the True, so that's going to help splash to get into this 4-color deck that I'm interested in. And we could always cycle it. Desert theme. Riddle Form, the green-blue deck is not the Riddle Form deck. That's going to be more of a red-blue deck. Sharpshooters is always good. Sidewinder Naga is good. But both are a little less exciting than the desert. Now, if we didn't pick this dust up, then the white desert is not going to be something we're interested in. But since we do have it, another desert here, pretty good one, but red is would be our 5th color, the way we're headed. Hollow One is a fine card. Sunset Pyramid is going to be really good for us, though, especially if we have this ramp. We'll have something to do with our extra mana. Draw some cards, scry away lands when we don't need them later in the game. And it's really just a 3-for-1 if given the time, so pick that up here. All right, wow, the deserts are really flowing. We can just take another Desert of the Indomitable. It's worth looking at Manolith. I'd rather have 1 Oasis and 2 Deserts of the Indomitable than the other way around. We don't need Manolith at this point. I'll go for the desert. Lots of good deserts here, and even more deserts. Starting to get flooded with the deserts. Deadlands. It's also getting pretty late in the pack to pick up something that can get the deserts back from the graveyard. Like Ramanop Excavator would be perfect when we have Dunes of the Dead if near Deadlands. That's kind of a nice combo. But yeah, we have enough deserts that this just becomes a bomb, and it helps fix for grind when that is relevant. And what's good with deserts? These creatures like Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, they don't care about what color of mana you have. They help fix if you have that one desert that's kind of like a Springleaf Drum, and they block, they attack, they're all good. So this is a tough pick because we could use a bit more defense early, and Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs is great for that. We could also try to wing it with what we have and take Torment of Scarabs, which will help us get a lot of value over a long game. Now, I don't want to go into that 5th color again for this desert, so it's really between Wall and Torment. And while I do respect the Torment, I'm just going to go for the Wall here. Even if it turns out that our deck can cut a few cards and play that Torment and it'll be great, just to make sure we have a functional deck, we'll take a safer pick there. Here we go with a Sidewinder Naga. This thing is reliably a 4-2 trample with the number of deserts we have. Better than the Harrier Naga, which isn't going to be that exciting in this deck. Manolith is just about perfect, though. The kind of card that makes Sunset Pyramid better. Solemnity, I guess that's what we're doing here. We're not going to play much white, so things like random white defensive creatures are not the greatest, and I don't have many Solemnities, so hey, take that. Happy to pick up another Sidewinder Naga, and we've got triplets. Sounds good to me. Getting more of these full art planes. Let's hope that the Amonkhet pack here is good to us. How many creatures do we have? We can look at Ronus Monument, but we don't have a ton of creatures, and we don't really need this effect to win. Mouth, on the other hand, that's a solid one. Mouth and Cartouche of Ambition is worth looking at, since we might have a bit of that black splash. We'll want at least 2 swamps, so that in some games we'll be able to activate if near Deadlands without Ritualist or Manolith. Or even with them, you know, without having to exert them too hard. But yeah, the Cartouche makes Grind to Dust a bit better. It doesn't really need the help. I'll take Mouth to feed. Most of our creatures can get fed, as it were, to help draw some cards. Edifice, perfect. In any kind of ramp deck or defensive deck, late game deck, Edifice is just exactly what you want. 1 mana is not too much to commit to removal every turn, and it's powerful removal. It even gives you some play against the gods from Hour of Devastation because of the Detain ability. Sure, they can activate in response, but any card that nearly shuts down a god is worth looking at. Splendid Agony, again, that's pretty good, but not as reliable as Edifice. That's what makes cards like Abrade much better. They can just take out your Pyramid, your Manolith, and everyone's playing their Walls of Forgotten Pharaohs, so Abrade is good. And also a reason to play Manglehorn main. Maybe we'll even try that here. I kind of want the Warrior, and we don't really need another 3-drop. Maybe Manglehorn for the sideboard. It's a close one. Honestly, the pick might just be Horror of the Broken Land, since we don't have much in the way of offense. Manglehorn fills a role, but we already have a lot going on there. Yeah, let's go for this horror. Speaking of that role, this 3-drop slot is about to get overwhelmed. Prowling Serpapard. Usually that's better than a Naga, although it's a little harder to cast, and we might want Naga Vitalist to help us out here. Help that mana out, and it kind of needs it. Cunning Survivor is an easy early cut. And it's not like it fixes our mana, but it does help ramp us a bit. Cartouche of Knowledge. I like that card in general. We don't have a ton of creatures, and giving a Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs flying is not exciting. It looks pretty good on Sidewinder Naga, but at this point we need more creatures. Reliable old Colossopede here can fill that role. There we go, finally a pretty big payoff for all this ramp we have. Manolith, Ritualist, Vitalist. Take this Greater Sandworm and be happy with it. Looking also a bit at Splendid Agony, but let's get some finishers so we don't just lose right out. Whoa, cool. I've never actually done this, but certainly Quarry Hauler can help you draw another card off the pyramid. Just put another brick counter on it. There aren't many ways to do that, so that might be the only way. Yeah, let's take a Quarry Hauler. It's also just a fine body, fine size. Defiant Great Maws, even bigger for less mana if we have our Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs or Proven Combatant out. We just slap this down there as a 4/5. But I like the Hauler here. It just looks like our 3-drop slot is full enough as it is. Drake. It's no Sphinx, but it does pretty well besides that. Shed Weakness, not too synergistic in this deck. Floodwaters is usually good for a bounce. Initiate, yeah, we'll just keep taking random cards here. Getting to the point where we might need a cut or two. I don't think I'd ever want 2 Floodwaters. Never say never, but Lay Bare could also be alright. We have some black stuff going on here. Right, so if this is 7 lands, we can probably play 17. We could probably play 19, like 17 lands including the deserts plus 2 amulets. So we need a lot of cuts if that's the case. Patra's Mark to protect one of our big creatures, cancel. Getting some nice options late here. So this is 24. We need a lot of cuts. Floodwaters. Initiate. Combatant can probably get out of there. And that looks about right. All right, just one more pick here. Get that Plains. Online, they always just leave the land in the pack, but oftentimes they'll take that out for other types of drafts, live drafts. It makes sense to leave it in online because it's just some types of packs do replace the basic land with a non-basic land, like they did in Dragon's Maze or something. They'd put a gate in that pack. Right. So you'll see building this deck won't be too bad, and we're not really leaving out anything ridiculous. So the deck looks good as it is. 21 cards. Most of our lands cycle. Well, yeah, actually most of our non-basics here cycle. So playing more lands is not going to be too much of a detriment. The amulets themselves kind of thin, and then besides that we just have some value lands. So how are we going to build this? Sorting by color, we find very little white, but it's enough to splash the desert off of a plains and have a couple amulets to find that. So we're looking at 11, 2, 2, 1. But the real constraint we have is double blue. So what we're going to do is just play one of each of those lands. and 2 islands in case we get there. Actually, just remembered that one of the cards we're splashing is another land, which is the If Near Deadland. So we actually want 2 swamps in this deck. So that's taken care of. These are the basics we'll play, and we're not going to cut any more islands or plains. The rest of what we're going to cut is forests. And what all are we putting in? So we need 5 more cuts for these guys. And a real quick check on what that gives us. So that gives us 10 or possibly 11 green sources for 12 green cards. And then we've got 5 sources of black, maybe 6. We've got 4 or 5 sources or 6 of blue. Traveler's Amulet gives us 4 or 5 sources of white, and that's plenty, especially since we have the Vitalist and the Ritualist to help us out there. So the amulets, I mean, the difference between 1 and 2 amulets is great in draft or sealed to splash as many colors as you like, and hopefully it'll work out for us here, since we do have those double off-color splashes in the Sphinx and the If Near Deadlands. So, take a quick screenshot of this, and we're gonna try this mess out. Round 1 versus Nuna MGG, and they're down to 6. All right, it's fine with me. We'll keep this because at least it has the Sunset Pyramid. It's always awkward when you just have 2 mana, and then you have to use the Pyramid to cycle for that 3rd mana. I see opponents doing that all the time, and I've been there. But yeah, it looks like that's how we'll start. Could have cycled the Beneath the Sands, but that's not as good as this, because if we do draw the land, we might just play Beneath the Sands for blue. Oh no, how are we going to stop this thing? Probably by playing Sidewinder Naga, so that was a great draw. And if they unsummon it, then that's pretty rough. What could it be? They could... Oh, they're giving their guy flying. Sure, so they'll get this 1 draw. We'll be down to 18. But unless they have Jeru's Resolve, it looks like we'll get in that Ambuscade. So, really happy to draw another land here. And so we do. We don't want to attack before doing Ambuscade because they could have impeccable timing. I just hope this works out. Nice. You know, if they have impeccable timing, then they save themselves 5 damage, but the other damage has been done. Just taking away this guy. I mean, they still came out ahead there, because they drew from Cartouche and from Eternal, so it already replaced itself. But what else are we doing here? Well, first thing is offer the trade, because the Naga's not getting much better, and we'd rather trade on offense here because we get some trample damage in. Then we might as well play this desert since we can't cycle it anytime soon, and quarry up our pyramid. Ever seen a pyramid with 4 counters? Well, now you have. I haven't. This would be a first for me. Aerial Guide. And we're drawing splendidly. We get Island just in time to block that thing. See exactly how we want to do this. Attack looks good. And then with the 6 mana we have, we could sort of make it all happen here. Aerial Guide on its own is not so scary. This gets just as much power into play. And it also is a better use of our mana. Cast this. What are we missing? We've got all of our colors. The only thing we're missing is a double color. So Shoot, it's just whether we're going to draw Unesh first, or what other kind of deserts do we have left in our deck? We've got a blue desert left in the deck, so let's get swamp. No, let's get blue. Then if we draw that desert, we'll be able to cycle it in case we draw Unish. So no matter what, we have our double blue now. But that decision was close and probably didn't matter too much. Let's see, the mouth count right now is 2. We'll want to delay that a little bit. Maybe we can get 3 cards off of feed. Not sure what the flavor is there. Like the more creatures that you have to feed, the more you have to feed them or something. All right, we'll take our hit. I think the clock favors the ground creatures here. But what are they doing? 5 mana open? They probably have farm. Not much in our deck we could draw to save us. So let's just get in there. Or try to get in there with 7. Trying to think of the flash creatures that really punish this. There's the Vizier that would exile the Hippo, but they still take 4, and I'm not going to play around an uncommon from Amonkhet before we see it act. Yes, that would have been really good against Ambuscade earlier, so I'm glad they didn't have it then. 5, right, that would have been 6 toughness. Ooh. Oh, I see, they just block both. I wonder if this actually turns out to be better. And you can't really tell the order they selected. I wonder if chat tells you. Quarry Hauler, Hippo token. So they want to trade. It's going to die anyway. They trade with the bigger one. Works for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's funny, we're never going to use this pyramid. We're going to win before even using it. See if this gets countered. It certainly does. But the way this works is if you can play out your threats, you might as well do that before drawing cards. That's not bad. Now we are free to draw some cards. We're not going to need the white just yet. Cycle this thing. Maybe we'll draw land so we can edifice in addition to some other good stuff. Right, but since we did not draw a land, we should just put out Naga Vitalist instead of the edifice. Ooh, unsummon. So they do bounce it ultimately. In the end. Don't let me forget these Wall of Forgotten activations. We do have plenty of deserts everywhere, so we've still got them on a clock. And now no more mouths to feed. I always like thinning before trying to draw. But now we have to be a little careful about what we're going to draw. Well, the Naga Vitalist makes it a bit easier. Sure, Colossopede, just about perfect here. If it doesn't get countered. Also careful not to F6 in these late turns when every damage matters. You could easily lose your wall to some kind of nonsense or bounce. Well, they will be able to come back from this slightly. Might be doing this in a kind of a strange order here, since we should have drawn before doing this, since we have plenty of mana afterwards. But I won't tell if you don't. Sunset Pyramid, 3, 4, 5, right. So now we don't have enough mana for the pyramid or the Hippo. And they would be incentivized to trade off with the Colossopede, So what I'm going to do here, right, because they kill the Colossopede, gain some life, and then they get back Steadfast Sentinel. So instead of letting them do that, and in addition, we don't get that mouth to feed. So instead of doing that, we're just going to stop this camel from attacking. It's still not a terrible trade for us, but it'd be nice to play our hippo and then feed it to get that one extra card off the Colossopede. We are decidedly way ahead. So it might not matter what we do, but these games turn around quickly. They're up to 6 mana now, 8 mana, and that could mean overwhelming splendor. I don't want to let the camel attack because that'd be an easy way to lose our Colossopede and they gain some life to something like Impeccable Timing or Sandblast. Just little things. Even when you're ahead, you want to think about little things like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No reason to save our white, so let's get... Wait, what? Tapping too much. 4, 5, 6. Good. Then feed, and then we can attack. We don't even really need to attack here. They still have pretty good blocks. Yeah, let's not even attack. We are ahead without attacking, and then when we attack with both next turn, that gets pretty good. Shoot, I should have I should have used the edifice before combat, but their attacks don't look good here anyway. On board. Alright, that's a lot of lands. White is just about colorless. So let's draw another card. I'm not sure if that's going to help us, but can't hurt. And then set up for a big turn next turn. At this rate, they're going to need Hour of Revelation, or they just lose. I'm not sure what else could do it here. Alright, and they see the writing there because we get to get another brick on Edifice and then detain this, and our attack should be lethal without them ever gaining life. Neat. Well, what's our anti-camel plan? We don't have one, we just have to beat them the old-fashioned way. They have some blue and white stuff, so I mean, Hapatra's Mark has some upside. Defeats the unsummon on mouth. Still, the targets we're protecting aren't such high quality that it makes that much sense. So I like submitting like this. Game 2, opponent chooses the play. And another awkward hand for us. But now we don't just have Sunset Pyramid, we have Sunset Pyramid and Grind to help us get that first green. And that's a good target for it. I would rather play the Pyramid first because even though this is up to 2 target creatures, I'd rather... Oh yeah, there it is. Get another one. This is like the best case. The only thing they could do against this is unsummon one of their own creatures, and that's probably not ideal for them. And they F6 through it, so that wasn't even an option. Whew, alright. Sweet. Well, the wall kind of Adds pressure to the board, but I'd much rather take a chance and get a land. Perfect. So good land too, because that might help ramp us up if it doesn't get scattered. Is it even worth scattering? If they knew our hand, they'd probably say it's not. They're happy to cycle their double white cards sitting on 4 islands. I would expect this deck to play something, and they do scatter it. This deck is probably playing Hour of Eternity, which brings back creatures from the graveyard. Just a hunch. And my hunches have never been wrong. Except that one time. And if they never play it, they could still have it. See? Well, I'm protected no matter what happens. Alright, so let's get Naga out here. And Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs. That looks good. I think that's about the most pressure we can put on this turn. Looking at the long term, you might put Ritualist out there, but that's just got to be worse. Okay, now this turn, since we do have the option of Mouth, I want to remove a brick, and then we'll have 1 brick left over for Hauler. But we've missed our land drops, so that's kind of worth getting out there. Yeah, I guess we have a lot of action in our hand. So we might just play this desert, and then we have more removal spells from the Deadlands. Like, I can't imagine in the next 3 turns a chance to cycle the desert, and we have more cards off of Quarry Hauler. So let's just play it. Play that. Play Mouth. Pass the turn. An unfortunate kind of slow draw from them, but they do destroy our token and find their second color. Oh, they took our Sphinx. Thank you, Ambuscade. Ambuscade's been an all-star here. I call this the Plague Wind of the format. 3 mana, destroy all your opponent's creatures with upside because you get more power. But yeah, that's happening. This is really happening. And you don't have to wait till turn 9 to cast it. Yeah, both games. 3 mana, Plague Wind. And that's enough for them, so on to match 2. Hello, Bill Klodz here with round 2. And this is a real stretch here. I think we mulligan to try to hit something playable. And on the play, this hand is really bad. This hand's really bad. It has 2 lands, but neither of them do anything. And they take a long time to work. Still, we're gonna keep it. And we're gonna top that. And it's gonna be okay. Going to 5 just means, like, in this game, it's possible we cast all the spells in our hand, and that's what we're counting on. If we go down to 5, even if we get some cards to play out, it just might not be enough to finish any kind of game. I actually like Vitalist here. Very similar to the Amulet, but we've got the Naga, so if we draw a land here somehow, then we could have done the Naga and the Amulet this turn. But we don't get that lucky. So do we want to get black into play, or blue even, and set up for a Ritualist into Unish? We haven't missed a land drop yet. And let's go for black. We'll have the double blue off of Ritualist. Yeah, I haven't missed a land drop yet. I'm not excited to start now. We even get an attack here. Not excited to get this impeccable timing, but that's not one you play around till you've seen it once. So the next question, do we cycle Horror of the Broken Lands? Or do we have enough going on in our hand that we don't really need it? I think we cycle it, because we don't mind drawing land here, and it might be many turns away, so I'm happy with that. I also like Ritualist, kind of like a land. And they haven't put enough pressure on us yet that I'm super worried. The thing I'm most scared about is they just kill the Ritualist here before we get to do anything. Yes, this is not too bad. Actually, you can spend 2 to get a blue, and then we'll have 3, 4, 5. Better yet, we can just tap out for blue here. The other option we have is to put in the Naga and Mouth, try to double block the Minotaur and save Unish for later. But the upside of doing the Cryosphinx is that we get to block the Screecher. A lot of tough decisions here. Let's just do the 2 plays for this turn, so this thing's not exerted for next turn. I guess either way it's 2 plays. But we can afford to take 3 in the air. And maybe they'll use whatever removal they have here for one of our ground creatures, and then Unish saves the day. And if we draw... No, land still doesn't really help us here. No, it might actually. If we get land... No, hold on. Yeah, anyway, I'll still make this block. A pump spell would have been bad against that Screecher creature. 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, we can do Amulet into blue, and then we still have to exert the Ritualist, but we have that option. Seven. So, given that, and that we haven't drawn a land yet, let's cast the Sphinx first. We might want the Ritualist back to block. So we've revealed some good ones here. They might just put Edifice alone, which sucks, but it's still maybe worth taking. Yeah, it's too good not to take. Land would have been nice, but the wall doesn't do enough on defense. We're already okay versus their lazy ground force. And they have a desert out, so they could discard our Sidewinder Naga. If they attack with the Wretched Camel, then it's on our terms. Ah, we should have just left our Traveler's Amulet in hand versus this dumb camel. Vault, not too scary, although they haven't... Oh, they did play a land already, which they would have had to use to activate it, so it's not poor play. But yeah, all right, so we've really stabilized here. We're really doing it. Let's get that blue so that Vitalist can tap for any color. We do have a couple more blue things to do. And it is tempting, I have to tell you, it is tempting to attack our Cryosphinx into this. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wait. I've got to be patient. Always yield to that. All right, they're doing it. They're getting lands. You really want lands off the first 3 activations. Dutiful Servants is not what I'm afraid of here. It's nice to be at 14 life because we have the flexibility to be blocking Blighted Bat, or letting Camel through, things like that. Should we cycle, or do we have enough to just play out... Wrong color. Get our double green there and play out the Hippo. Yeah, let's play out the Hippo. I will save the desert this time, because I think we have plenty of mana. Alright, so they're just going to do Oracle's Vault every turn, and I just hope their late game isn't going to compete with ours, because they'll have plenty of it. We're working up to our own edifice, letting Cryosphinx attack. And then the Hippo is also going to be great on offense. What did they get? Another land, so they're really doing it. Flood-proof beds, our opponent. Cast out. What are they going to target? The Sphinx? No, the Hippo. Yeah, I guess I'll allow it. Still don't want that Screecher to attack. Even though it'd be fine, ultimately. Here we go. Deadlands to the rescue. So we can actually work this to attack this turn. Sacking a Desert of the True. We don't need the White Desert. And because we have that, let's just go ahead and... Oh, we can't play this yet. Whatever. We can save the Desert of the Mindful. Maybe we cycle it. In any case, we can attack with the Cryosphinx and then stop Blighted Bat from attacking. That puts us back in the driver's seat here. We could exert Oasis Ritualist to play the Naga and hold up Edifice here, but it's not great. Alright, what do they get? Steward of Solidarity, pretty good, but again, their late game doesn't look like it's going to be as strong as ours, even if they get a lot of value. It's just going to be 2/2s and tiny things. Irrelevant nonsense. Wonder and Death. They're getting a lot of stuff, though. You gotta give them credit for that. A lot of mana. A lot of creatures coming out. Stop Blighted Bat from attacking. We've really got to think about cycling this desert. But it's too good as a removal spell. I don't think cycling it now is going to turn out better than just killing Carrion Screecher. So let's just keep it. Play it. Keeping green up is good too, but let's just kill that Carrion Screecher once and for all. I hope they don't have the pump spell for the Blighted Bat. Doesn't look like it. Neat. Okay, upsides of playing the Naga. We get more cards off of feed. Upsides of playing Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, not many. And then we can think about doing some other stuff. Actually, I kind of do like playing Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, and then again we'll stop Blighted Bat from attacking. We can't stop Steward from activating. We could stop it activating on their turn, but then just when it gets back to our turn, it could activate again. And a 1/1 is not too scary, so this looks good. They don't attack through our hippo or our wall, so leaving Oasis Ritualist tapped for a turn is also defensible. They're really getting a lot of creatures out. Oh no! They snag our last card here. Oh well, Blighted Bat. Can't attack. So they really don't have a way of getting any damage in this turn. And we can kill another creature. Let's see. Draw 2 off of Mouth to Feed. Yeah, it's a good time to do it. It doesn't let us kill a creature this turn, but I think it's a good time to do it. Unish coming in. So they need to draw something like Catcher's Name, maybe get it off of Oracle's Vault. Is there anything we need to tap down with Edifice? The thing is, it's tempting to use the detain mode of this right now, but if they have a pump spell, like the flying mummy thing, Unconventional Tactics, we're going to want to use it in response to that, so we'll just wait. And at that point, it doesn't matter whether you're detaining or bricking the creature. Okay, so they're going to just make a warrior. I guess it's a bit of a question there because they actually have less power this turn, setting themselves up for the long game, so it's worth them counting there at the very least. They hit a land? No, they hit Dutiful Servants, pump up their mummy. It still looks like our blockers are good enough, and what we want to do is brick the bat. So, big attack or try to survive one more turn. Those are the options here. If it's just the Minotaur, I'm okay with that. Our hippo's already drawn a card. So we're doing all right here. I don't want them to get 2 hits off of the Minotaur, and the Ifnir Deadlands can take something else out. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, I guess it's Sphinx time, because if we make it back to our turn and we hit with this, then we're in good shape. I also don't mind killing their bat, so they might want to block here for longevity. And they're not doing it, so this is their last chance to win. They really want to win this next turn, which makes me want to play as conservatively as possible. One, if they have the Wrath, we want to hold back Greater Sandworm. They're at 2 life. That doesn't really matter. So let's kill the Paramount. Probably the scariest card they have right now. And we can play Sunset Pyramid, but then we give up a blocker. So the absolute safest play is to just not play the Pyramid. Okay. So now we can stop something from attacking. And they just hit so many lands off this, which is still lands they would have been drawing otherwise, so it's still great, but okay. Flyer is still one we can't block. What they're gonna try to do here is kill the wall or gain life. Only 2 options. Ooh, that does gain life. And it means they survive this hit. So now we'll have to detain, I guess, the Blighted Bat. If we really wanted to be lucky, we could try to draw the -1/-1 counters to finish this here and now. And they've got to block with their 3/3. No more tricks, please. Nice. So we have not played a land yet. We're free to use this pyramid, then we still, I don't know, hold some other stuff up. Oasis, that's a good one. Again, not dead to a Wrath. They're dead next turn if they don't find something good to do. And they're looking at their prospects of killing us once again with a Steward. So they didn't, yeah, they didn't exert here. So they're in desperation mode. It's just the card they have in their hand. So hopefully that's good enough, because the cat's not going to do it unless it gets haste or reach somehow. Flying. Didn't miss it. We got the 1 damage from Forgotten Pharaohs. Ambuscade. Well, if that doesn't lock things up, I don't know what will. Detain Blighted Bat. Attack with Cryosphinx. And that's got to do it. They could have Sand Blast. That's the only thing I could think of to bail them out of this. But no, on to the next game. What a crazy one. Alright, so was that really game 1? I guess it was. Just a bunch of nonsense from their side. Zombies. So what's our anti-zombie plan again? I guess we didn't have it. Our deck is pre-boarded against zombies. Round 2, game 2 here. I imagine they'll take the play. So they do. So they do. This would be a good hand. Ooh, they're down to 6. This would be a good hand on the play for us, since we have some ramp and card draw. As it is, it's going to take some time to build up any defense. They must have an awkward 6. No, they're keeping that and scrying to the bottom. Okay, so what is our play here? Do we play Desert of the Indomitable? Because it's our last chance to sort of get it into play. It could be good later with the Haship Oasis. And then we have Sunset Pyramid to draw a lot. Yeah, that with this hand and only green lands in our hand, it looks really weird to play out Desert of the Indomitable, but at the same time, all of our stuff is colorless anyway. And now we can go ahead and discard a forest. I guess that worked out well enough. Who needs these lands anyway? Not me. Get a wall here. Pyramid. Edifice of Authority. It's not really a pyramid, is it? It's just kind of a big old edifice. Well, alright then. Lord of the Accursed still doesn't crack through our wall, but they're happy enough to try. Could always misclick, I guess. Interesting. So, Manalith and Beneath the Sands, pretty similar this turn, but Beneath the Sands can't tap for mana the turn you play it, and we don't need that mana, so I guess it's better to do this. It also thins a bit for what that's worth. Very little. Let's get black. The things we're going to need earlier are black. So depending on how much mana they're going to invest this turn, they could get in 2 or 3 damage. Hopefully no more than that. Come on. Blighted Bat, so they're going to get in 5 damage. Yes. A lot of clicks to get to my precious F6 that turn, but we managed it. Finally got there. What an awkward turn, because we could play out Manolith and Edifice, or Sunset Pyramid and Edifice. But neither of those let us activate the Edifice to save 3 damage. So let's just play, and then we've got a weird turn next turn where we play Manolith, activate and play Pyramid. We can just hold back the Desert of the Indomitable. I think at this point we have enough land to warrant that. Not going to use Hash of Oasis, so let's get Edifice down and start using that. Super awkward turn. And we don't want Blighted Bat to attack, because if they don't give Menace, and they're down to 1 card, so like this is it. And actually this was the incorrect attack unless they have something else to do, because they could have just gotten 3 damage in. So I expect a 3-drop or something. Yeah, they should have just gotten 3 damage in there. I don't think I miscounted this turn. Right, no, we could Manolith, cast the Pyramid, and hold up Edifice. But I guess it's better just to do Ritualist. Helps block some of this stuff. Then what? We're never going to get to cycle this desert, are we? Let's play it. With enough draws off the Pyramid, and we're going to invest that mana in drawing anyway, this looks okay. Shoot. Well, they've got no more cards left, but their board is better than ours as it stands. Until we can start detaining Lord of the Accursed, but even then, we need to answer the bat. So here's hoping we can get our removal spells. Oh no. This is going to go for the Ritualist, I think. And if it doesn't, then we still get this 1 turn. 1 turn of bricking. This is a good top deck for them. Oh wow. Too bad we can't actually kill anything. Come on. But we're still above, we're in double-digit life here. So that's good. Shoot, what do we do now? Now we take more damage because we can play Greater Sandworm to stop their ground offense and maybe give us some pressure of our own. But that gives up on any card draw this turn. I guess that's good. And if they want to use Lord to push more damage through, then they're still trading off a creature to do that. And this is all assuming they aren't just top decking absurdly, as they did last turn. Yeah, alright, just 3 damage. Acceptable. Just 3 damage, down to 8. Wretched camels. They give all that menace. We can block one thing. We take 9. 10. Maybe we can force them to block. We could get in 11 damage here. That's not going to do it. So we need to draw something. We need to draw something fast. Something good for very little mana. Manolith. Yeah, good game. Good game. They just had very good draw for their limited resources here. Shoot, I mean, that's just 9 any way you slice it. Maybe they forget that they can activate Lord, because they did miss it that one turn where they could have had 1 more damage. Hopefully they miss it. Flood proof, but not misplay proof. Not that that matters this game. I think the difference between 7 and 8 life is a non-issue. What if they just attacked with everything? Do they still win? Oh, geez. Are they giving us another turn? Or are we dead to this attack? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh yeah, we're just dead to this attack. You know, nothing to see here. All right, so they do force a game 3, and if we draw some more early interaction, I think we'll be better off here. It's too bad Hippotra's Mark won't save an artifact. But yeah, I mean, this is what we need. Oshra Cultivator could be a nice early blocker. Helps out blocking stuff with Menace. Maybe it's better for that reason than Beneath the Sands, because they're similar. Sure. I like that. It's a worse top deck. A lot worse of a top deck. Unless we need that blocker, so I guess it just depends. And yeah, good hand. Really weird hand. We actually have 5 different lands. So what do we play first? Good question. We're never going to get to cycle the Desert of the True, so that might be an option. But if we don't play the Desert of the Indomitable, then we have to take a pain to cast the Naga. But we could always play Desert turn 2, and if we draw a Forest, then that makes that decision easier. Pyramid, I like that. And that also means we don't want to play Desert of the Indomitable this turn. So it looks like we are going to ping ourselves for 1 off the Pyramid, or off the Hash-Up Oasis. 1 more chance to draw green. But this guy really hits hard. Turn 3 Sidewinder Naga. At the very least, he'll trade off with something. And that favors us. Our late game is better, as we saw game 1. As long as we have enough time to play it. Shoot. Oh boy, what do we discard? We might discard Desert of the Indomitable here, because that's going to take a while to play. I'll discard a Mummy. Sure, don't want to see too many more of those. More Nagas than you can shake a stick at. Well, I feel like we're the aggressor now. They're going to attack in here, and no need to block, because we want to give them reason to block us. Trade for something a bit better. Like Blighted Bat. Sure, I'll offer that trade. Not a problem. And I don't think they take it, right. So if we play Edifice here, we play Deadlands, and that doesn't look as good as playing another Naga. 2 hits from both of these, and they are done. Can we pull this off? Come on, the 4-color nonsense deck should always beat the 2-color streamlined deck. That's just the truth. But they realize that they're in a bit of pain here. They're under some stress right about now. So we could pump one of our guys, and then we're taking 3 hits of 5 minus the Edifice. I don't like that, so instead and which one of these would we rather discard? Neither, really. Maybe the Forest, because we have a bunch of those. Yeah, let's play the Deadlands. All for the trade. Because we can't interact with the flyers unless we draw something like Ambuscade. So we do get 6 in here, they lose a creature, and we're back to trading hits of 4 for hits of 2. Can't draw a card here because I really don't want to take any more hits of 3 than we have to. Plus, if we hit a land off it or something, then it's not even that good. We could have just done it the next turn. So, what if they leave Blighted Bat back to block? That's unlikely. But then we'd have to decide whether we want to trade it off. Alright, black would be a nice draw eventually for the if near Deadlands, because right now we're looking at 4 removal spells. And another Screecher. Come on, Screecher creature. So we're still taking 5 a turn. But Colossopede once more puts them in a world of hurt. Do they trade this off? I kind of hope they do, because Colossopede still hits them, still kills them in 2 turns, and doesn't trade off as easily. Yeah, that's not bad. Nice. So they're on a 2-turn clock. We are on a 6-turn clock from old Blighted Bat here, unless they play another one. And they could actually trade off with Colossopede pretty easily. If they wanted to. Let's see, what if we pump it? 4, 5, 6, 7. Then they have to just chump it. And that costs a bunch of mana, but I think we still have enough. We still have enough here. No, we can't use that. What if we draw black? So we do want to play plains first. Draw a card. Oh no, then we couldn't draw the black anyway. Never mind. Yeah, we messed that up a little bit. For sure. And because we messed it up, we should really pump our Colossopede and sack the White Desert. So then they can't trade with our creature. They just have to chump it with something. But it'd be okay if they traded with it. I think they chump it anyway. But, oh shoot. What are all the options here? They could discard 2 cards next turn, 6, 7, 8. They get an 8 damage. Because we detain, or we stop the Carrion's creature from attacking. Close game. Super close. We really don't mind trading off with both. Yeah, let's just attack with the Colossopede. And then next turn, we'll have enough to deal with 2 blockers. Maybe. So... yeah. I guess their best bet here is just to not block. And if they get the pump spell, they might win it. Nice. I like this for our sake as well, because even if they pump it, they don't really screw us over. And then Edifice only has to deal with a single Blighted Bat, and that cannot be too hard. For the record, if we did draw Dunes of the Dead before playing Plains, which we should have in hindsight, we might have just used the Haship Oasis in attack there. But that might work out pretty poorly for us. Oh wow, Ammon Eternal. Come on, good stuff. Once again, let us... The white could be relevant, because if we draw exactly the card that kills both of those, we can exile the Ammon Eternal. Quarry Hauler, okay, okay. That's a spell. It's a good spell. So that adds... It could add another counter to the Eternal, but I'm not sure that accomplishes enough. Then we could put it down to a 2/2. Or we could add a counter to Sunset Pyramid to draw another card off it. Game's going to be over before then, right? I actually like detaining it anyway. So let's add another counter here. Add a counter there. And then, sure, have at it. Once again, we'll wait until their turn to activate Edifice, in case they draw some sorcery pump spell. And we definitely don't want that Ammit attacking, because our main way to victory is attacking with this Quarry Hauler. So they attack for 2 here. I hope that means they don't have another creature, or we can draw Black Source. Because what we can do is pump our Hauler and stop the Camel from blocking. Although, yeah, we don't really need to do that. Yeah, let's do that. So they have to block with the Eternal. They lose the Eternal. They can only attack back for 4. We get a 2/2 for our trouble. And we can play a couple creatures. In fact, that's a pretty good reason, I don't know, to do all kinds of stuff. Alright, goodbye Camel. We don't have to discard a card because they don't have a desert. And the same trick will work next turn, I would think. Unless they can pump 6 on their Blighted Bat. Nope, they do find a desert. 1 turn too late. And more damage and more blockers. And more counters required to stop this Eternal. Shoot, I hope we can put this win together. Hope we can do it. So we can force the Lord to block. And then put them really low. I'm running out of time here. Try to do it all. 1, 2, 3. Pump this guy. Detain the Eternal. And that forces the Lord to block the 5/5. So if they get that +3/+3 pump now, they're in good shape. But almost any draw they could have, they'd lose here. Just about. This poor Amit. He's never gotten to do anything. Maybe they're alive here. But our all-out attack ought to win this. 1 minute, 20 seconds left. Come on, do it. All right, so that should be on to the finals after a riveting zombie match. Hello, on the play in the finals of this single elimination Hour of Devastation draft versus Dwags. And this is a nice hand. I mean, this is the reason why you play Traveler's Amulets and Sunset Pyramids and Walls of Forgotten Pharaoh. Doesn't matter what lands you have in your opening hand as long as you have some. And then it doesn't matter how many you have or which ones you play. Here we go. Yeah, so flooding out's not an issue. We have Sunset Pyramid, Beneath the Sands, and I guess we have plenty of time to get going, so we can play this wall. There's some chance we want to use Amulet before we draw, but not really. Yeah, we can just see what we draw here. Okay. We'll need green eventually, so let's get that. And then the best thing we can do with our land at this point is to draw a land. Pyramid can come later. Get a black source, and then we're all set. All set to go Beneath the Sands or something else. What a weird attack. I think they get more average damage in here if they exert the Stalwart, but I don't know. It's always kind of a weird one. Oh, we don't even have a desert yet. What does this turn look like? We could use Beneath the Sands, but we're going to have Colossopede next turn no matter what we do, so let's get Sunset Pyramid and save the Sands. Oh geez, Ambuscade. They're getting in full damage this turn, that's the truth. It's too much damage. Alright. It is Colossopede time. I love these hands where you get 5 different lands in play as your first 5 lands. Just beautiful. So many options. They don't have the immediate answer to this, but they will have Fanbearer up eventually. Gee, whoa, hey, not cool. So we are just dead here? We're pretty much just dead. Oh dear. Well, right, so we take this, we go to 5. They tap this down. Next turn, any 2 creatures are lethal. Huh. Or we absorb 5 of it. We go to 10. 3, 7, 11, 12, 13. Then we lose next turn. So which turn do we want to lose? And our one out is to draw 2 cards, an untapped land and a grind to dust. So maybe we have the most chance by doing this because we can't kill Fanbearer. Although it doesn't look good. You don't want to chump block with your Colossopede, especially when you're chump blocking a creature with trample. Crikey. Alright, you know what? That's probably game. We can draw a couple cards to prove it. Yeah, we even did get the grind to dust. Kind of. But was it going to save us? Definitely not. Green. This is defeat. Doesn't do anything against creatures. Maybe we'll cut off the one forest they have. No, it's not even worth it. Lay Bear. If this exiled, that would be a lot better. Because then we could kill those Aftermath cards. I don't really see many other of these cards doing much. Cancel. So let's just try it like that. Once again, we could consider Oshra Cultivator versus Beneath the Sands, because they fill a similar role. But the size of creatures we're contending with make Cultivator not much better than the cycle we get off the Sands. Oh, maybe I'm convincing myself. Oh well, if we make it to game 3, maybe we'll try that. Yeah, this is a good hand. Almost as good as that first hand that we lost with. Yeah, Play the Desert comes in tapped, and we can actually use it. So, Deadlands, maybe that'll come up later. Exemplar, they have a powerful deck. Let's get him, though. Let's ambuscade this Exemplar before it gets any... No, we really shouldn't do that. We really shouldn't do that. That would be cute, but we can do that anytime. And they might not even want to attack here. Shoot, I almost did it. That would have been... Oh no! Maybe that was our only chance. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Didn't play around Ambuscade. Never don't play around Ambuscade. Look, the first person who casts Ambuscade usually wins. Unless the second person does it in response. The first person to resolve Ambuscade usually wins. How about that? Alright, yeah, now it's just useless. We still have a chance if we can get this Hippo to ambuscade this guy. Like, we don't really get to block it except with the wall again. This is where Ambuscade is literally Plague Wind. We lose both our creatures. But we didn't see that many Ambuscades in game 1. Oh no. Alright. Shoot. GG. If we had another black here, that would go a long way. Speechless. Alright, well, at the very least, I proved my point about Ambuscade by losing hard to it. that it is the plague wind of the format. What an annoying card. Is there any chance of winning this? Not so sure. We'll need to do some combination of Ambuscade and Deadlands or Oasis, which we could do. Next turn, we could pump up our Ritualist and use it to Ambuscade the Exemplar, spending 4 cards and 8 mana to kill a 2 mana creature. Okay, so this is the turn. We're just gonna go all out. Win or lose. Sack this guy. And then I guess we leave our guy back to block. Hope they have nothing. May the Ambuscades do it. You actually, come to think of it, we should probably get this attack in and hold our zombie back to block. Oh no, we're so dead. Because this thing will come back. I guess it'll have to put the -1/-1 counters on something. But yeah, they'll just get the Winged Shepherd. And they have no problem putting another creature in the graveyard, but I'm not sure we should take this hit. It's Vigilance anyway. This is all happening. 4, they're going to get another volley of haste next turn. We can kind of try to get 5 in, but we need this blocker, so our best bet is to, I guess, get 2 black sources. Or maybe a white source to draw our only out, really, which is, where is it? Grind to Dust. Yeah, let's do that. So this thing is back on chump duty for the Unwavering Initiate, which they bring back with the gift. Unless they cycle something better. Ooh, yeah, that does it. Alright, this deck was nuts. They had an aggressive start, God Pharaoh's Gift, and yeah, just really good cards with it. The Cyclers, especially the Flying Cyclers. Shout out to the real hero of this, which was Ambuscade. I think we really misplayed it early if we chose to Ambuscade. And I really wasn't counting on the second one. Card's good. Alright, good luck in your drafts.